I first read this one, I was really confused because it doesn't make any sense at all.
Okay. So the first line says the old woman made mint candy for the children. So like that just kind of reminds me of like my grandma.
Yeah.
Like how they make candy for you, like they always
Yeah.
pass it out. So it starts off with a very like positive connotation.
And like it could be like a healing potion almost. Like
Right.
not really a potion, but like a metaphorical.
Well, mint represents health, and then like candy is like a kind gesture. And so then it goes to who bolt through her front door, silhouettes of the great blue heron. So obviously bolt through her front door, they're obviously wanting to get there for something.
And like a heron represents freedom, and I thought this was kind of ironic because they're found in Louisiana by the water, and that could almost represent like, since it's by Kiminaka and his whole thing is civil rights, how the heron could represent equality and how the African Americans wanted freedom during this time from oppression.
And he was born and raised in Louisiana, so it's like a common symbol he probably saw when he was a kid. So maybe this is like a personal story from his own childhood. So this woman sold the potions to the kids from a half-lit kitchen, which is really interesting because when I think of potions, I think of like witchcraft. And
Right.
You wouldn't associate it with like anything.
You associate it with something negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a dark dungeon basement.
Well, then you have the half-lit kitchen, so it is have like an air of mystery in it.
Kind of like an eerie feeling.
I think it's kind of like cool, or not cool, but something that really stood out. Like she was selling equality almost. Like how do you do like
so they had to
pay. Yeah, they had to pay for what they needed to gain in a way, and that's kind of what
they had to work
in
for it
history.
in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Well, that's like if that's the route we're going, like if we can make that connection, it makes absolute sense because the blacks had to like fight for their equality.
And like the saying, like there's a price to pay for like you're gonna have to go through pain in order to get whatever you want.
And from him saying that they'd walk out of the woods or driving from the cities, kind of shows how the equality was wanted everywhere by all different kinds of people everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just from one certain place, but woods and cities. Those are really different places.
And then, clutching lovesick dollar bills. So clutching, you like immediately visualize like someone clinging to something.
Like that's important and you can't lose it.
Yeah. And then lovesick dollar bills. Lovesick, I just think of it as like, again, sad. Like it's been so long that it's finally time for this.
Right.
And then the side door part is what really caught my eye because it's almost like kind of secret.
Yeah.
So you have
like nobody can know that she's given them equality.
And that's what happened like in those states. Like they all had to meet in secret to actually like to fight for their rights.
The Chinaberry tree was kind of significant. After I looked it up, I kind of found something that says that it represented an eternal paradise, and I also saw something where a lot of people are buried under Chinaberry trees. So it's kind of almost like that, since the door that opened beside the Chinaberry tree, it's like a lot of people have died fighting for the cause. Yeah.
And then that, like, if we keep reading on, I think that theme kind of goes on to like, did their eyes doubt under Orion as voices of the dead spoke? And like we said, if many people have died fighting for this cause and they didn't see equality in their time, maybe these kids think back and be like, if our ancestors weren't treated equal, why should we? So maybe that's why they doubt it, like, what difference can we make?
When I saw Orion, I kind of thought back to the woods and the cities, because I thought of Orion's belt and how you can see that from everywhere because it's in the sky. So maybe that it wasn't just one place where it was all happening, it was everywhere.
And I think whenever it says like, did their eyes doubt under Orion as voices of the dead spoke, it's almost kind of like, it could be like one way as if to be like, oh well, what can we do from their ancestors, but also like almost like a warning, like what if you don't do this? Like it's just gonna get worse and worse.
So they carried photos, locks of hair, nail clippings, and the first 3 words of a wish.
The photos and locks of hair and nail clippings are like physical
personal elements of yourself,
But then the 3 words of a wish kind of struck me like, what were they saying? Like, you wish that you could do something to help them, or like
It leaves it open for
Yeah.
interpretation.
it leaves you thinking.
So basically, again, like we saw in Woebegone, he's using kind of like a little story, or like I'm kind of seeing like the stages of life, because this one talks about kids.
And yours talked about teenagers.
Woebegone was kind of like a teen rebellion, and then we see Jasmine. He was kind of like grown up and like reflecting, and he's finally getting a taste of like what it'd be like to be equal.
He uses a lot of outside events or ideas to say the same thing.
Metaphors, or like represent his theme of racial equality.